All right, let's just jump right into this explainer. Today, you and I are putting on our Chief Operating Officer hats. Together, we're going to build a highly successful business operation completely from scratch, and we're going to use the ultimate factory blueprint to do it. Whether you're super curious about how massive manufacturing plants run, or you just want to know how service businesses optimize their daily grind, this blueprint is going to reveal the hidden mechanics behind how things are actually made.
To pull this off, we're taking a 4-step journey, covering the absolute basics of production, locking down the perfect physical location, designing the plant layout, and finally, choosing the right production system.
All right, step 1, the basics of production. Let's define exactly what we're actually trying to pull off on the factory floor. At its core, production is really just a transformation pipeline. You start with your inputs, right? Raw materials, labor, machines, cold hard cash. Then you run them through a process. Maybe it's a chemical reaction or just mechanical assembly. Boom, you get your outputs. Tangible goods or intangible services. The whole secret here is that absolutely every single stage literally has to add value. Now, here's a distinction that trips up a lot of folks. Are we talking production management or operations management? Well, if we're making physical, tangible things like, a couch or a book, that's production management. But if we're providing an intangible service, think healthcare or maybe a theme park ride, where the customer is actually right there in the mix, that's operations management. They both turn inputs into outputs, but the vibe of that output changes the whole game. No matter which route we take, our ultimate North Star is hitting what we call the 4 rights. We've got to nail the right quality, the right quantity, at the absolute right time, and at the right cost. And here's the kicker, actually. Right quality doesn't necessarily mean the best possible quality in the world. It just means the exact quality the customer is paying for. You hit those 4 targets, you win.
Moving right along to step 2, choosing the right location. So we've got our objective. Now we need to make our very first massive physical decision. Where on earth do we build this thing?
Here's the truth. There's no such thing as a perfect location. It's always a strategic trade-off. We're constantly balancing factors to keep our costs down. Do we set up shop right next to the raw materials to save on freight? Or maybe right next to our buyers because our product spoils quickly? We've also got to look at government tax incentives and, make sure the local power grid isn't going to randomly fail us. It's a massive balancing act.
Okay, step 3, designing the plant layout. Let's say we've got our piece of land locked down. Next, we head indoors to map out the internal geography of our new facility.
So picture an empty factory floor. We've got to ask ourselves, how exactly do we arrange our machines, our people, and our stuff? The goal here is a perfectly smooth flow, total employee safety, 0 wasted movement, and squeezing every ounce of value out of that floor space. There are 3 main ways to pull this off.
Option 1 is a product layout. You probably know it as an assembly line. If we're churning out thousands of the exact same standardized item, this is our jam. Machines are lined up strictly in the order they're used. Materials come in one end and just zoom down the line. It's incredibly efficient, with almost 0 mid-process storage, but again, it's really only for massive volumes of identical stuff. But what if we need some flexibility, say for custom, low-volume work? That's where a process layout comes in. Here, we group machines by what they actually do. You put all your drills in one corner, all your lathes in another. This way, a highly customized product can bounce around to whichever stations it needs in whatever order makes sense for that specific job.
And then there's a third scenario. What if the thing we're building is just unimaginably huge? I'm talking airplanes, cruise ships, that kind of thing. For that, we use a fixed position layout. The main component literally stays put because, you can't easily move a Boeing 747 down an assembly line. Instead, the materials, the heavy tools, the crew, the whole operation comes straight to the product.
Now, regardless of the layout we choose, reality is going to throw some harsh physical constraints our way. We might need massive vertical clearance for giant indoor cranes. We have to plan for heavy-duty ventilation if a process generates insane amounts of heat, plus utility lines and strict waste disposal have to be baked right into the floor plan from day 1. It's like a giant 3D puzzle.
Which brings us to step 4, types of production systems. This is the final piece of our blueprint. We need to decide exactly how the actual work is going to flow through this beautiful plant we just laid out. To really wrap our heads around this, think about 3 wildly different operations: your local neighborhood bakery, an aircraft assembly hangar, and a massive oil refinery. Sure, they're all turning inputs into outputs, but underneath, Each one relies on a completely different operating system to actually survive.
And man, do these systems come with trade-offs. Take job production, perfect for highly complex, custom work like that airplane. It gives you ultimate control, but demand is erratic, so you might have super expensive machines just sitting idle. Then you have batch production, like the bakery. It uses adaptable machines to make a specific number of items at once, but you end up needing tons of storage space for half-finished goods. And finally, flow, or continuous production, like the oil refinery. It is blazingly fast, but the terrifying catch? Everything is so connected that if one single machine breaks down, the entire factory literally grinds to a halt.
So, how in the world do you pick one? Well, it all boils down to your specific reality. Are you running a boutique tailoring shop that needs a job system? Or do you have the deep pockets for a fully automated continuous flow setup? Your daily order volume and your budget for automation are basically going to make that choice for you.
As we wrap up this explainer, we've walked all the way from raw inputs to highly complex production systems. And every single decision we made, where to build, how to map the floor, how to manage the flow, it all comes back to that core objective. So I'll leave you with this. When you look at the unique blueprint of your own business, what specific combination of layout and production system will perfectly balance your quality, your quantity, your time, and your cost? Something to chew on. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll catch you next time as we keep breaking down the complex systems running our world.